and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Before the start of tonight's regular meeting, the board met in executive session to discuss a personnel matter. Can I ask Autumn Caulfield to come out, please? I'm asking Autumn Caulfield to come out.
Autumn Caulfield, please report.
Autumn?
Please come up. We do this to every newbie that joins, so. We'd like to introduce Autumn Caulfield as a member of our new member of our staff. She'll be projects coordinator, special projects coordinator. Autumn, you want to just say a couple pieces about who you are and your background?
Hello, everyone. I'm a Delaware Valley University graduate. I have my degree in policy studies. I've been interning with the township now for a few months. My supervisor, in the course of me being here, resigned, and Stephanie was kind enough after a whole interview process to give me the opportunity to work with the township. So I'm very excited to join this team and work with everybody and, be part of everything that you all do here for the residents.
And you have a master's from Delaware University as well, don't you?
I do, yes.
And what is that? Is that public
That's
policy?
the policy studies.
Policy studies. And what's your undergrad in?
Wildlife conservation.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Presentation this afternoon by Joe Phillips and team from the Donovan Group on our building expansion for creation. Project. Okay, now they're here to present two options. And the couple members of the board and staff have been meeting with the architects now for several months, maybe longer than so, maybe a year or so.
Almost a year, along with two members of our Ways and Means Committee.
Yes, and thank you. And we've been tossing this around and looking at plans and options and needs and costs. So no decisions obviously have been made. We have no idea which way we're going to go. So we asked the team to come tonight, present the two options that the committee has kind of narrowed down to. So perhaps from, I'm hoping that from this presentation we'll have more public comment and then we have a plan going forward as to how and which way we're going to go. So welcome.
Thank
you.
It's up here, but it's not there. Okay. There we go. Great.
Does somebody back in that room want to hit the lights? All right, never mind. Dick's going to do it.
Ed's got it, Dick.
Ed's got it. Thank you, Ed.
Good evening. I'm Joe Phillips, and Jim Linsky is with me from our office. Jim and I and some others in the office have been working with the committee to go through the designs. Since we last met, or I met with the full board back in August, I believe, of last year, we've done a lot of work, and we're kind of here to show you the fruit of that labor. We thought it was good just to kind of step back. The first two slides are a couple slides from the last time we met, just to remind ourselves of why we're going through this process, to provide spaces and functions for township operations that are functional, efficient, secure. They comply with accessibility, meaning Americans with Disability Act, that are safe, energy efficient, and serve the emergency services requirements of the township. We talked about the benefits of new facility, basically efficient layouts, allowing staff to be more efficient, saving time and money, clarifying points of service and streamlining the interaction between township staff and residents, and provide safe and secure areas for the transaction of business, improve the existing building envelope, as well as the mechanical, electric, and plumbing systems to make staff and residents more comfortable, efficient, and productive, and also reducing overall operations costs. Since we met, we have studied approximately 8 different concepts and variations thereof. And we are here, as Barbara said, to present the two concepts that have kind of come to the top, or the fore, in the process. We're calling them Concept A and Concept B. Concept A is a concept that very much utilizes this existing municipal building. You'll see in the light tan areas where the pointer is, that is your existing municipal building that we are sitting in right now. And then the darker brown area is an addition to the existing municipal building. We'll get into the interior layouts of that in the next slide. This structure right here is proposed to be a carport for police car parking. To the rear, we have the existing 70 by 70 structure, which will be converted from park maintenance and large evidence impound into a fleet maintenance facility for working on the township vehicles. You have the existing Public Works building and existing salt storage, and a darker brown area there. That's a wash bay that's proposed to be added to that Public Works building. Here we have a new structure proposed for park maintenance storage. That's currently in this 70 by 70 building. So we're showing that there within the Public Works complex. And then out adjacent to Kids Castle and the amphitheater area, there's also one of the parts or pieces of this concept is a park and rec activity building. So those are the major components of Concept A, and we'll go through them in more detail now. One of the things to point out about this concept is the main roadway and infrastructure that is here now remains. That has its pluses and minuses. There were some inefficiencies and I guess some conflicts with public and private vehicular and pedestrian traffic that exists today that we would like to solve. And in this concept, some of them will still remain. There will not be a distinct separation between public traffic and visitors that will come in to enter the building and police and parking and public works vehicles. But we'll get into that a little more as we move forward. This is the plan. You can see that the existing municipal building is approximately along those lines there. So at the top, we have the police offices, basically kind of the chief and administrative areas, the detectives area, the squad areas, and locker facilities. And then one of the main components of this concept is the addition of really thought out and holding facilities for both juveniles and adults, and the addition of a sally port. One of the main, I guess, prime program items that the committee wanted to accomplish in whichever concept we proceed forward with was to really upgrade holding and secure sally port facilities. Next to that, in the slightly lighter area, is evidence processing, temporary evidence processing, and then evidence storage with large evidence storage added on the end of the building. That large evidence storage replaces what is now in the 70 by 70 building down near Public Works. You have the meeting room that we're sitting in, which is currently remaining in the same place as of now in this concept. And the offices are pretty much unchanged for the main administration and codes. One of the big, another item that we wanted to accomplish with this was to get the park and rec offices and the finance offices out of the second floor of this building. There's some challenges there. There's space challenges. There's mechanical issues with heating and cooling up there. So we really wanted to try to get them down on the same level as the rest of the offices. So you'll see in the greenish color here, we have the park and recreation offices. We're showing an entrance into there and a lobby space. So When people come to, for Park and Rec needs, they could go directly to that lobby. As we move down, in this area, we have the finance offices, some archive space, and some file space, and then the finance offices there. They're all relocated from the second floor, as I said. And then in this area, we have some public works spaces. We have roads departments and public works offices. We have proper locker facilities for men and for women. We have a storage area. And then we have kind of a kitchenette break area and what we're calling a lounge. And what that really is in weather events, emergency events, when staff are working overnight or more or less 24 hours a day, that's a place where they could come in, rest, before they go out to resume whatever activities they're resuming. So that's the main floor plan. And as I said, you'll see that in this option, we do have a number of entrances. There's an entrance here for Public Works. There's an entrance here for Park and Rec. The administrative entrance stays the same. The meeting room entrance stays the same. And the police entrance stays the same for the public. In a perfect world, we like to try to have these entrances more consolidated and kind of more evident from the minute you enter the complex. So that's one of the things that, while this is not, I'm not saying this is a terrible solution, it's one of the minor shortcomings, I would say, of this solution here. We wanted to show this this building, a little bit of a blow-up of this. We didn't get into the floor plan of it and develop it, but this is the proposed Park and Rec activity building. The amphitheater area is out here. The kids' castle is down here. In the program, as we went through this process, the program called for additional Park and Rec activity space. So this building is about twice, the footprint is about twice the size of what Park and Rec has on the second floor of the Public Works building right now for activity space. So this would be a larger space, it would be a more flexible space, it would have higher ceilings, but along with that, there would be some kitchen facilities similar to what is in their activity space now, a staff room that could monitor activities if it were rented out to the public restrooms for both this facility and the activities in it, and then also an important element of this was restroom facilities for the park and for Kids Castle in particular that would be separate from the internal restrooms and be accessed from outside the building so that these restrooms could remain open if the building were closed. And you have plenty of adjacent parking, existing parking right there. Then we move to the fleet maintenance building, which again is the red 70 by 70 building that sits down across the drive from the Public Works building. We're converting this to a fleet maintenance building. This concept is basically the same for both Concepts A and Concept B. In either proposal, this is being proposed to be converted to fleet maintenance. The reason we're converting this to fleet maintenance is because Park and Rec, Finance, some of the public work offices would move into the block portion of this building that currently house these functions. To the right of it is another element. Again, this is the same in both concepts we're presenting tonight, is a new fueling station. And we'll show you where that is on the next slide on the site. But in both concepts, we're proposing to put above-ground fueling station with a canopy, remove the existing fueling station that has below-grade tanks, and do above-ground self-contained storage tanks. Concept B. I'll just point out that the fueling station is proposed in both concepts to be located right here at the back of the existing parking and adjacent to the fleet maintenance, what will become the fleet maintenance building. It's now a storage building. It will allow for plenty of room to turn and access for trucks and vehicles for fuel. I believe there's a 4,000-gallon gasoline tank proposed and a 2,000-gallon diesel proposed there. Concept B. I mentioned when we were looking at Concept A that while Concept A is a sound concept, there could be potentially better ways to clarify access, separate public and private, vehicular and pedestrian circulation. And that's really what drove this. As we went through the multiple concepts that we went through, and trying to just utilize the existing building and put additions to it and not modify any of the site, we kind of realized that the police might be located on the wrong side of the building where they are, and the administration might, things just needed to be flipped around a little bit. So as a group, we said, well, what if we build a new building that houses administrative, meeting, park and rec, codes, finance functions over here, modify the parking areas so that they function for those areas, and then renovate the existing building that we're in for police, which allows public access right off of a common parking area, but then we're able to separate private police traffic and the truck traffic from the public works facilities into a separate parking and drive area. And if we're designing a complex from scratch, we normally try to separate that traffic, not have the general public cross with truck traffic if we can avoid it, and especially police traffic that might be going in and out of the site, have to get in and out very quickly. But again, the public access, when you pull into this parking lot, it's very clear, or would be very clear, that there's police access, administrative, meeting room access, from one kind of controlled lobby point, so to speak. You'll see to the back of the site here, we've proposed a salt storage building. When we met with you last August, we were actually talking about locating this public salt storage back where they have some storage piles off of New Britain Road, near where there were some new playing fields created. In our discussions, there was talk about that being remote, and would it be a problem to have the loaders and equipment located in this part of the complex and then having to get it over there. So it was thought that in this concept we would locate a new salt storage building right here off of the existing, all this paving is existing. It would give us a great yard area, plenty of turnaround space for trucks. More importantly, clean, I don't know if that's working anymore, clean access for deliveries of salt in large trucks. So that was the reason behind that. And then at the top up here, again, that's fleet maintenance. That hasn't changed from Concept A. Wash bay has not changed from Concept A. We'll get into the plans now. So this is the administrative office building, park and rec, codes, finance, meeting rooms. The main entrance is over here to the left. You come in around a core of toilet rooms and utilities, and then everything, my pointer is dying here, but everything is fed off of the main lobby. So there's a central point of service. You come in and you can, whatever your reason for being there, you can go up to a window, whether it's administration, finance, park and rec, codes, and there would be a clear separation through service windows of the staff and the public, which is one of the things the Delaware Valley Workers' Compensation Trust pointed out in a report that they did to try to get that separation. So again, everything's served off this public lobby, meeting room, admin, codes, park and rec. In this concept, administrative offices and finance offices are located in this area. There's a new meeting room located there, conference room, so on. The blue is codes. The green, as you move back, is park and rec. There's activity rooms here for park and rec and for township use. So we've increased the amount of conference space and options there. There's a kitchenette type place here. Toilet rooms also here, and the idea is one of the things that became part of this concept was a multi-purpose space. This is a large space. It's about 8,000 square feet that basically could serve to hold basketball, volleyball, things of that nature. And it could be segregated through the separate entrance from the rest of the township building, so that if there was no reason for the township offices to be open on a night when there's an event there, everything could be locked down and separated, and that could function on its own. I think that's pretty much it for that. Then the existing building that we're in. This would be renovated completely for police. There'd be no additions to it, just the existing building. The public entrance would be off the main parking, and then you have the administrative areas working back into the squad and patrol areas. Again, a similar secure sally port and holding facilities for juvenile and adults, interview facilities. There's no reason for them to leave that area, so it's safe and secure. Don't have to drag them through the rest of the police station to get them to holding. Short-term evidence storage, evidence processing, evidence storage, and then the large evidence storage again, which is currently being stored in the 70 by 70 building near Public Works. We talked about the fleet maintenance already. On the left of that sheet, no changes there. No changes to the fueling station. It's in the same location on the site. The salt storage building, it's just a large building for salt. There's a small addition to it to actually house a loader right there so that it's convenient to the salt. And then you'll see on the drawing on the right, that's the wash bay. That's the same in Concept A or Concept B. It's attached to the existing Public Works building. But since we're providing a new salt storage building, this area, which is now salt storage, would get kind of a mezzanine in it, and there would be 2 floors there, and that would become park maintenance storage space. And then on the bottom drawing to the left, all the way to the left, we would take what's now being used for park and rec activities and convert that to the Public Works offices, road supervisor, park supervisor, and men's and women's locker facilities of the lounge area that we talked about, and we would keep the existing kitchen in that concept. So that's really it. It's a little bit hard to read from a distance, but the next slide is a comparison of an area comparison, square foot space requirements. You'll see on the left the different departments listed. As we went through, they came from the program of space requirements we did at the outset of this project. The existing areas are the first column. Concept A, which is kind of a scaled-back concept, which was the first concept I showed you, utilizes this building for the most part with an addition. That's the second column. And then the third column is Concept B, which converts this building to police only and builds a new building for administrative meeting and park and rec activities. One of the things that I failed to mention, and you will see a number in here for it, is that, and on the cost estimate, which we'll get to next, is in order to accomplish Concept B, we would need to relocate the tennis courts. And we have had discussion about some locations on where that could happen. It could happen right across the Park Drive, potentially, and there's been some other areas discussed as well. But Concept B is dependent on that, and you'll see how that affects the cost of the project on the next slide. But basically, if you take away the multi-purpose building, again, which I said was 8,000 square feet, and that's been kept separate at the bottom of that sheet, Concept A and Concept B totals are within, I think it's 5,900 square feet of each other. So they're fairly close, excluding the proposed multi-purpose building, which would be attached to the new administration building. Any questions on area for now, or should we move on to the next slide? All right, the next and final slide that I have for you tonight is a cost comparison summary. In the cost estimate, there is included a 10% estimating contingency and a 5% contractor overhead and profit. So there's 15% in there above what our cost estimators felt the cost of the project was. This is very typical at this stage. The drawings that you saw tonight, along with a written outline that we put together of building systems and how the building would be constructed, and a report from our mechanical, electric, plumbing engineering consultant was what was used to generate these numbers. So to date, we haven't studied any exterior elevations or anything like that. So in a conceptual stage like this, it's very common that 10% estimating contingency is used, and that will decline as the project moves forward and more drawing information becomes available. But you can go through there and you can see Concept A requires some things that Concept B does not, and vice versa. The tennis court, the playing courts are the second line item from the bottom, and you'll notice there is a number in there for both concepts. We became aware that if the tennis courts aren't moved, they do need some maintenance. They need resurfacing, recoding, relining, restriping, new light poles and new lights was brought to our attention. So there is some work that needs to be done to those, even if they stay in their same place in Concept A. If we have to move them, then you can see there's a cost associated with that as well. I'll point out just another thing under Concept A. You'll see there's not a cost behind police department renovations. That's because in Concept A, the administrative and the police departments are together in this building, and everything is included in that first line item. The other thing to talk about briefly is that Concept B would be easier to phase and implement over time and less disruption to existing township functions than Concept A would be. In Concept A, this total building would be renovated and affected in some way. So you can see that there's also, under Concept A, there's a cost in there for temporary office space, which would be located on site. But we felt to accomplish this in the most economical way, as far as construction costs go, that moving people out, allowing the contractor to have free rein to work on the building would be the most cost-effective from a construction cost standpoint, but it does require some temporary office facilities. If we went with Concept B, the new building could be built. People move over there, then there would be room in this building for the police to move around as construction was phased in this building. That's it. Jim and I are here to answer any questions.
Joe, Jim, thanks. You did what we asked you to do. So thank you. This is very succinct and clear and well presented. Comments from the board? Dawn, you're just hearing this stuff for the first time.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But I wasn't on the committee for the discussion, so I mean, it looks like we lay it all out there. So I mean, that's obviously we need as much. You guys all are privy to more info than I was, but initially, but to digest it. So at this time, no, it's a lot to digest, though. So.
If we did nothing, we would, in all your evaluations, we would have to do something to the maintenance of this building anyway, similar to the tennis courts.
Correct.
If we didn't build anything, you're still going to have to put some money out. Do we know what that number is that we would have to pay if you did no renovations at all?
Well, no. The short answer is no. We haven't come up with a number for that. But one of the main needs in this building are mechanical systems. So
right.
They would need to be upgraded, and in order to get to them, that affects sticks and bricks. So it's kind of a domino effect. The short answer is no, we haven't put a number
But
to that.
when you looked at Concept B, if you're going to renovate this building, or Concept A, it assumed you were going to upgrade all those
Absolutely.
facilities anyway.
Absolutely.
And I'm just trying to, and when I look at $8 million or $10 million, I mean, the other, I'm not saying it's a valid option, but the other option is we would still be spending some money over the next couple of years for doing something, and I'm just trying to get an understanding on what that would be.
Yeah, I don't have an
Okay.
answer for you here. I mean, the difficulty with that is you would have a nice new building, but it would still have some of the same functional problems and space shortages.
No, I can appreciate that, I understand that, yeah. Okay. The activity center in Concept A,
Yes.
I just want to make sure, I was a little confused on this. It's the activities building, the same as the activity center down by the parking lot? In Concept A here, we have a
Right.
activity building.
Correct. That is not the same size or construction that we're proposing for the multipurpose building, which would be attached to the administrative building in Concept B. And it's
So-
not the same as exists in the existing Public Works building. It's twice the size of what you have in the existing Public Works building, and it's a higher space that
So
would
Concept
be
A
more
doesn't
flexible.
have the same size of activity center as Concept B does.
No, that is about 5,000
Okay.
square feet, and the multipurpose building in Concept B is around 8,000 square feet.
Okay, okay.
Basketball court would not fit in.
That's why I wanted to make sure I understood. And the, moving the fleet maintenance out of the current administration building, was there other benefits to doing that, other than just,
Yeah, other than space, I think we talked about it last August. We were made aware of some problems with fumes and exhaust and so on infiltrating the building, and with systems that are kind of not functioning properly, it was difficult. So, yeah.
okay,
And the other thing is, they're down there, they're adjacent to the other Public Works buildings, they're all kind of nicely contained.
right, right.
I have not seen this before, so I am at...
You want to think about it? Look at
Yeah,
it?
I just have a couple questions. Maybe it's for you and Ken, whoever worked this, but what is the, I won't say purpose, but what is the reasoning behind the multi-purpose 8,000 square foot facility?
There isn't another one around, and there's a demand for an indoor facility, or a facility like that that could provide indoor sports and indoor sporting events and large events. And Karen made a very persuasive argument that it would be very cost effective and would be self-sufficient in terms of income producing over a very short period of time.
So if
And
it
we would
costs,
use it would be part of our recreation program.
if it costs 700,000, Joe, if I got your numbers, and again, I didn't see all this, but
Yeah.
if it's 700,000, say, to build that, then Barbara, you're saying we'll recoup the 700,000 in a year or two, a couple years?
I'm
I
not saying
can't.
that. I'm just
Wait.
saying that over time, the
carry-
depreciation of the building combined with the income for the events it would not be a cost to the township as much as
You
that.
have to show me the number. 700,000 is a large chunk.
It is large, and I'm not prepared to make that argument, but it was something that seemed like a good idea to put into a plan.
Because just off the top of my head, we have to generate 50,000 a year for 20 years, say?
Yeah, and at least so far, it wouldn't be the intent to do both activity building. In Concept A, we're proposing a smaller scale activity building that's out in the park, adjacent to Kids Castle and the amphitheater, and part of the reason was we could provide restrooms in that building for that part of the park. So that's that out there. But then the flip side on Concept B is that it would also be nice if we're calling it a multi-purpose room building because it's bigger now and can accommodate basketball and volleyball and so on, and other pickleball, whatever the sports are. It also would be nice to have that close to the park and rec offices for easy monitoring of programs, activities, groups that come in and out. So they both have their advantages.
I like the setup in the park. I think that's great. We do need the restrooms. It's great to have the activities closer in the park, so I'm on board with that. I guess my only hitch is this 700,000 plus multi-purpose room. I'm not sold on that.
Nobody sold on any of these things yet, so.
Okay. Well, what are you looking for tonight?
Well, I think perhaps some direction. I know that we want to have a lot of public input on what we're doing here. I know we want to have our Ways and Means, we have two Ways and Means members here, take a look at both options. We have to talk about financing, we have to talk about funding, we have to talk about this in addition to our overall budgeting requirements, needs, roads and bridges. So I think this is the start of the conversation publicly. And you guys get a chance to look at it, digest it, get public input. I think Stephanie has some ideas about having open houses and tours to the public over the summer, get to September, and maybe have some meat with our potatoes on our plates and see where we're going with this.
So basically, Joe and Jim are going to like rest for the summer, and then we're going to get back to them.
We're going to kick back.
Yeah, because
Kick back, all right.
this is all part of our budget discussion.
That's right. It all has to roll into the
We're
budget.
here just to share where we're at,
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, they don't need anything more from us right now because they've done what we've asked them to do, unless you want them to do something more.
No, I like everything I see, but like I mentioned, either A or B is going to be a tax increase.
Yeah.
So I mean that's definite, and it's only a question of how much of a tax increase.
Well, or wait, there's other options that the Ways and Means will explore, and that's potentially financing in a creative way, not necessarily a tax increase. I'm not saying we're going to avoid a tax increase altogether because we have some roads and bridges issues, but it's not a necessity. We have to do something. We have a building. We have facilities that are from 1968.
I'm sold on all that.
So we have to do something. And like I said, interestingly, the last time somebody asked me this question, it's $2 million, but there's a $2 million difference between new construction and renovating the old construction. And frankly, I'm not sure that number isn't closer, because if you've done any building or renovations, there's always more cost to renovating than there is in the construction, because you run into all kinds of problems that you didn't necessarily. As good as you guys are, as good as these folks are.
Well, you can only anticipate so much.
You can only anticipate so much. So I'm not entirely convinced that it wouldn't be a closer gap on the difference between the new and old. Yeah, the activities building, that big multi-purpose room, it's a cherry on top of a new construction.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily.
I'm okay.
I'm not sure we need it,
Yeah.
but Karen made a pretty good argument for it. I think there's good argument all over. I think it's a building that would be a great use for this community. Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to build it.
Yeah, I would suggest that, because there is some desire to continue that discussion, look at what a new activity center would bring to the township, is that why we may bundle it from a construction perspective, that we kind of do. I would suggest that I would like to see us break that piece out from an approval process, because it really, in my mind, it's not really part of a renovation. It is part of a new activity, it's a new function, and we should.
About the multipurpose or
Yes.
the activities? So the multipurpose only goes in within concept B anyway, with the new construction.
Yeah, that's the larger
Yeah.
multi-purpose
Right.
building.
Yeah.
So you can break it out if you want. I'm
Yeah,
not ready to break anything out at this point.
Pardon me?
I'm not ready to break anything out at this
Well, I'm just saying, as we go further along, that
Good.
we have a process, the Ways and Means is putting together a process that if we have major capital expenditures, that we have a capital approval process that we want to, they're looking at putting in place. I'm just saying, to me, that is different than renovations and what we need to do with the police sections and getting the people up the third floor. That, in my mind, that's different. So I would encourage us to look at that a little differently than the renovations, that's all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Barbara, and to Ken's point earlier about, I don't know if you want to elaborate on this or get clarification on you referred to as the cost of doing nothing. I mean, quote unquote, you said you haven't done, is that difficult? Would that be difficult to get an estimate? Or you want that as a?
I don't know how much it is. I would ask them if they could do it in 30 seconds while we did this, and this. It's an engineering number. I don't know if it's 500,000 or $3 million. Compared to 8, I'm going to be spending half of it anyway.
We could certainly go back and look at what the mechanical, electric, plumbing upgrades were as part of the cost estimate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all broken down, so.
I think it would be good to be able to know that,
So
to communicate that.
that's a matter of going back and taking an hour to look at the information we
Yeah.
have and sort through it. It's not trying to
Does that
recreate
mean
it.
we have that we expand the police department or
No,
not? Or
no,
move
no,
people
no,
around or
not at
or
all.
don't
No,
do
I'm
anything?
not coming up with another alternative. I'm just saying in our communication that to say to people, we need to be able to communicate. If we did nothing, we're still going to spend X amount of dollars. And I don't think if we
Dick thinks that number's
not
like
do
3
concept A
million.
or B,
Well,
yeah.
honestly, that would be very similar to what this police building costs in the renovation under Concept B,
Right.
because you're taking the same amount of space and
Yeah.
you're bringing it up to date and up to code, so there's your number.
Yeah, I mean, we know.
It's
that these
equal
guys
to
are
the police
fighting
number.
all the time to keep a lot of these older equipment pieces running, so we're going to be spending the money there anyway, over time.
Yeah.
I mean, in thinking this through as we speak, it's the number under Concept B for police department renovations, basically.
Plus heating, HVAC.
Okay,
Gas.
any comment from the folks out here? Any questions? Anybody have any questions or comments? Can you please take the mic and identify yourself? I'm sorry, sir.
Karen Murphy, I'm on Valley View Drive, and I was just curious, and I'm sorry I haven't been at previous meetings, I try to read the minutes, but is the regionalization of the police force just dead, that will never happen?
Well, I can't say it's dead, it will never happen. We've looked at it and we've decided as a board not to proceed with regionalization with Doylestown Borough and the other departments at this time. Well, we decided that, a year ago?
Right, I just didn't, that sounds like if you're going to put all that money in, Chalfont's starting to think about it, and, so I was just curious.
Right,
but-
and it makes sense for those smaller boroughs, absolutely, but it didn't make sense for us. Thank you. Sir, you had a question?
Yes.
Can you come to the microphone, or?
Maybe he should, I think.
All right, why don't we bring the microphone to you? Can you do that?
Maybe Ed can bring some.
Here's a handheld.
Yeah, use
that's
that.
good.
That's good. We have it.
Push the button, Joe.
Only because everyone wants to hear you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm here trying to resolve something peacefully, and I hear you all talking about spending federal taxpaying dollars, state taxpaying dollars, and how you're going to spend it and everything like that. And I hear you talking about how the police are going to get all these things. I had a little interaction with the police department here.
Do you have a comment about what we're doing here? I mean, do you have a question or about this?
A question.
Because if we have something else, we have a, okay, go ahead.
Did you state your name, just so we know who you are?
Yes.
Matthew Gallagher, ma'am. Sir.
Thank you.
And what is your address, Mr. Gallagher?
Every time I came here,
What is your address? Where do you live?
Where do you live?
see, what's my address?
Address.
I have two places. I have York Road, and I have Silverdale.
What's your address on York Road, sir? Are you-
138 York Road.
Okay, in Doylestown Township?
Correct.
And what's your question?
My complaint was I had my CNI dog at this one location where Doylestown owns the property and ground. I've already contacted your solicitor, and one of your police officers grabs the leash I have of my CNI dog, which is ADA, federal. I had to ask the officer kindly, please remove your hand from the leash, because you're committing a felony there. And I hear you all talking about federal taxpaying dollars, how to do things ADA, and everything like that, but I don't hear anybody saying, let's get a blind person here to explain it to us, because we don't know what it's like to be blind. I had this explained to the officer, it's a felony to touch a leash of a CNI dog. It's a felony. And I had to explain to some other people. Montgomery County, I told the police chief, I said, listen, if you don't believe me, call Montgomery County police chief. He told me to call the Attorney General. I did. The Attorney General's comments was, are they nuts? That dog is federal. We can't even touch it. That's what I came to make my comments about. Like I've often learned from my father, better to educate someone than to wind up in a court of law. Because in a court of law, it's going to cost you money. You educate someone, It may go down the road. It may educate someone else, and it may educate someone else. I want to be treated as an equal. Like I said to the officers, you have to have training for your weapons. Don't you have to have training for CNI dogs? But yet you're grabbing a leash out of my hand? ATF at the airport, they won't even go near my dog. They put their hands up in the air. He's federal. I can't touch your dog. Federal.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Gallagher. Thank you. Anybody else have anything on this proposal? Okay, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay, back to any visitors or public comment aside from what we've just heard. Okay, moving on then. To announcements, the next meeting of this board is Tuesday, July 21st at 7 p.m. We're going to be closed on Friday, July 3rd in observance of Independence Day. The Sounds of Summers concert series begins on June 24th with the 1910 Fruit Gum Company at Central Park, and that will be the opening of the amphitheater. Is that correct? No. No? No? No, it's not going to be opening of the amphitheater. 7 p.m. The June 28th Philly Party Band Fireworks, Central Park, 7:30. It's $5 per car. Is that the opening of the amphitheater?
No, because
Maybe.
we're doing the fireworks, and we always use the location for the fireworks.
Okay. July 15th, the Boy Band Project, Central Park, 7 p.m.
Yes.
Yes.
It should be done by then.
2015 discount park tickets are now available. To purchase them, please go to the administrative offices. Father's Day Fishing Derby is June 21st, rain or shine, at Peace Valley Park at Sailors Point entrance. You have to pre-register, and for further information, go to doylestownrec.com. Okay, next item is the approval for the minutes of June 2nd, 2015, the regular meeting. Is there a motion?
There was, I moved to approve, however, there was one
There's one
correction
correction.
we would like to change.
That's right, I was not present.
All right.
All right, noted. Change is noted. Anything else?
This is the, I'm sorry.
The regular meeting of the June 2nd?
Right. Yes.
I just said
Yeah, I'll second it. I'll find it in a minute, just bear with me. Under new business, request to advertise is 5-0. Sean was not at the meeting, so we couldn't have had a 5-0 vote. Right, Sean? You weren't at that meeting.
Right.
So I'm assuming it was 4-0. And that's the problem when we as a board got to be, I mean, we set these agendas and we set this up and when we don't get, I just looking at the dates, the 5 of us have not been here. It's going to be almost, when we have the July 21st meeting, it's going to be almost 3 months since the 5 of us have been together. And that just doesn't work well. Having said that, I correct that, I believe, to 4-0.
Which one is it?
Advertising the ordinance, page 5.
Okay, thank you.
Motion was approved or adopted, 5-0, should be 4-0.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look what the, I don't think there was any controversy there.
Yeah,
It would have been
yeah.
4-0. Thank you. All right, that's correct. And anything else? This motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Oh, so exasperating. Then there's the Thursday, June 4th, public budget work session minutes. That was a 4 o'clock meeting, and not seeing who wasn't there.
Sean wasn't there.
Okay, so Sean, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Is there a second? So, Mr. Toohill's absence has to be noted in that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next item. Honor Flight Bucks County. There's a letter in our packet. There's a brochure asking us to support the Honor Flight Bucks County. It would be a $100 plus $550 investment to include a quarter-page ad in the program, which I think is a good thing. Does everyone else think that's a good thing? Because there are other townships supporting this with a small ad, and I think the township should be present in this with our sister and sister township.
Not to be contrarian.
Go ahead.
I just don't like It's not the cause. It's a great cause. I don't like the county saying, you know, we think this is a great event, we're going to host it, we're going to contribute to it, et cetera, and work to make it a great event. But we'd also like money from you. And to me, if you know, if it's such a great event and the county wants to do it, you get the tax money from our residents, then pay for it and do what you want to do. I think we've got to take a step back and start looking at, this isn't our money, this is our taxpayers' money.
Then why don't we each do $110 as supervisors and do the ad that way?
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that.
That would pay the cost of the ad.
And I have no problem with that. I think it's, plus, one other comment, you know what bothers me too, Barbara, is that innuendo that, oh, and we're going to list in there the townships that contributed, which implies that the ones that didn't, you know, I just don't like the whole tone of it, but I'm absolutely fine to make a contribution, a personal contribution.
I don't see the nefarious,
Well, it's my nature.
I can certainly respect your position on it.
Just a more general question, how do we decide then? Is there any
Don't have to.
other
If we don't get a vote,
501(c)(3)?
if we don't get a vote that the township support this with a payment of $550,
Yeah.
I assume you're okay with $100? Then if we don't get a vote to do that, then it won't happen as it's a township vote.
No,
But if we
my
agree to do it
question was more
individually-
general in concept. I mean, what prohibits any nonprofit coming forward and say, give us money?
Exactly.
They do, though. We've gotten a request from a number,
Say no.
and you,
Well, so
most of the time you don't.
I understand what Rick is saying. What are the rules around when to say no?
There are no rules, and we're the arbitrators. So now when someone comes in and says, hey, can you donate $200 to cancer, I have to sit here and say, cancer, honor flight for veteran. I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be making those decisions.
Right.
And that's what bothers me. So thanks for clarifying it, my position.
Okay, so
So I'll send a,
to pieces. You want to make a motion to pay at least $100 to contribution from?
well, I would only commit to myself. I don't want to commit to the board or make a motion for the board, but I will,
Request a minimum donation of $100.
I'll send $100 in.
Is there a motion to?
Yeah, a motion, I'll do it.
I'm not asking that. I'm asking if there's a motion from another member of the board to support this request. You said you're not, so is there anybody else willing to do it? Okay. Motion,
No motion made.
request fails because there was no motion. Okay. Next item on the agenda, Delaware Valley University grant application. Does everyone get a letter? Did everyone get a copy of the letter? I think it's just an information only, is that correct?
That is correct. They're applying for the grant to redo their train. They have another section to redo the ability for pedestrian access onto the train track, and they're applying for the grant. If you'd like, we can send a letter of support.
What I'd like to do is make sure that our trails plans and the DART study that we're taking on is kind of in the mix here. You know,
Our trail, we already go under the other bridge.
Yeah, I
This
know,
is
but I mean, is there anything here that would play into us?
No, it
Well, then,
doesn't.
I agree. Then let's do a letter, thanking them for advising us and keep us informed of the progress, and by all means, if we can assist in any way, to let us know.
Okay.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yep, yes, I'm good.
All right, next item on the agenda, reports from the solicitor.
I have nothing to report tonight, Madam Chairperson.
Chief?
Nothing to report.
Township engineer?
Nothing.
Manager?
I just have my request to attend the 101st ICMA conference later this year.
I make a motion, we approve that, and you don't have to please don't send me all that back up. I am sure it's a great program, and just say you'd like to go, and please spend money to eat, and there's no, just for all the other reasons, so I make a motion and we approve, and have a good learning experience and bring back some good stuff for us.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
supervisors, notice I've listed here because we received the Grassroots Community Leadership Award from the Heritage Conservancy last week. Yes, Ken, last week?
Yes, last Wednesday.
It was a nice event. We got it for our trails, our 25 years of trail planning and 26 miles of trails. that we have created in this community with members of the community, with Johnstown Borough, with businesses, various individuals, government agencies. So because it was this great, it was great recognition of this, as they say, grassroots community event to preserve and provide for outdoor, enjoyment, pedestrian access, mobility of people, bikes, wheelchairs, strollers, and connecting the major hubs of our community, not only the transit systems, but the schools, the hospitals, the parks, and beyond, and how we also link to the big circuit now that's developing and to other communities outside of Doylestown, outside of Bucks County. So it was a great recognition. Stephanie did a great job accepting the award. In addition to this Grassroots Community Leadership Award, we're getting like the Conservation Organization of the Year Award for our Environmental Advisory Council, and we'll be receiving that award from the Bucks County Conservation District on July 15th.
I think it just changed.
The date was changed today. Yeah, I sent that email out, but it's the 22nd.
July 22nd. Thank you for the correction. What day of the week is that?
Should be a Wednesday. It's a
the
Wednesday.
following Wednesday.
Same location with the
Actually, the commissioners give the award out at the
yes,
meeting.
at their meeting.
Yeah, thank you. At the Commissioners Award, 6 p.m. at Court Creek Park, and Del Valle University has provided us a band so we can all go together. And I presume that and assume that all the members of the board will be going. So we will encourage that. All right, that's all I have. Oh, wait, I do have one other thing. We had the most awesome golf outing yesterday. We had 115 golfers, or maybe give or take one, or a beautiful day, weather held out, and we made a lot of money, we think. I don't know the bottom dollar, for Kids Castle, Build a Kingdom. So it was a great event. We raised some funds, so thank you. See, we had some great volunteers. Ken and Rick were there golfing. I managed the hot dog tent, and we had a lot of fun. So,
Stephanie was golfing too.
yes.
That's right. And Mario.
And Mario. I was not golfing. I was working.
Using the term golfing liberally.
He was riding in a cart.
So, it's our, I don't know how many,
21 years.
21 years of the golf outing. It's been
Fundraiser.
a pleasure to chair for the last 10, I expect. And it was a really very successful one. It was fun. So thank you. Oh, and thank you for helping to sponsor. That's all I have. Sean?
Yeah, thank you. I just like to, a little bit different, I like to make a comment to clarify some recent comments and confirm some facts about the most recent zoning hearing meeting and the Oscar Hammerstein project and my affiliation, or lack thereof. So just to clarify, I'd like to clarify that the recent comments and confirm I have no interest in the project. I do have an ongoing interest in a portion of the land, and thus, for that reason, I've continued to recuse myself from all the discussions from the beginning to date, or any actions on the application as well. Just felt that maybe that wasn't clear to everyone, the board and the public. I just thought I'd put it to rest. So thanks for the opportunity. And again, more specifically on the comments in the recent publications regarding not only no interest, but no payments or anything like that have been involved with the project.
I think he's referring to what was reported
In the
newspaper,
Intel.
in your article last time.
Not to slam the Intel, yeah, but there was clarify some misinformation there, so.
No, I wanted to yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken?
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, just couple quick things. On June 4th, we did have the budget work session, which I thought went exceptionally well, so I would encourage residents to look at some of that information and really get some good details as to what the Ways and Means Committee is bringing forward. Also, the EAC is having their native planting this Saturday, 9 to 12. So anyone who can volunteer to help stick more plants in the ground in the native garden up by the EAC Educational Center. Take all the help we can get. And also commend the EAC for the job they did at the EAC Summit, which was on June 4th as well. There was, I don't know exactly, 7 different townships, 25 different people that were there, so it was a good collection of people sharing ideas and presenting some good topics. So it was, again, a job well done. That was it.
Are you guys gathering at the Education Center on the other side of the pond?
On the other side, up by the native garden.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, on the other side of the pond.
Yeah.
So if you were at Kids Castle, you'd have to walk to the other side of the pond to get there. I'm just trying to give everybody an idea if you
right.
wanted to go, how to get there. Thanks.
Yep.
Rick, you have anything?
I have a couple comments. One, maybe everybody doesn't understand, at least on the board, that the chair makes the agenda a couple days the week prior. And interesting, like Jim and Joe coming today, if we don't have a full board, there's content that's not passed on to the rest of the members. And in respect of setting the agenda and the chair getting everything squared away, if we weren't going to have a full board, we would change things or have them come at different dates. So I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that the agenda is set the week before. People are planning to come in. It's too late to change things. Important things happen. People have to change things. I understand all that. But the sooner the chair gets notice of who's going to attend and who isn't, the better we can plan the meeting when we have people coming in especially. Planning Commission, I mentioned last time, working on sign ordinances. We had a robust 2+ hour meeting. It never ceases to amaze me the skill and the talent of the people on there. There's 3 members that each have over 30 years planning and zoning experience. 2 of the members worked on one of the Pennsylvania model ordinances from Montgomery County. Stephanie and her staff, they have over 25 years of writing ordinances and implementing ordinances. 1 member has over 30 years in sales and marketing. So everything is being brought into the process and hashed out. And you can imagine with 8 type A personalities, it's robust at times. The other question I have is how are we doing on the Pebble Ridge easements? And then I have 1 comment after that.
According to Mr. Garten today,
We have 3 in hand, and we've had inquiries from maybe another 4 or 5 where they've wanted to meet the engineer at the site just to review things. So we've had responses from probably 40%, and I'll give it another couple days, and we'll send out reminders to those we've not heard from.
I'm not real optimistic, but hopefully by the July 21st meeting we can get that resolved. The last thing I just wanted to say, I have no problem discussing any issues with any residents or any people ahead of time. I'll sit down, I'll go over issues. I don't appreciate personal attacks when emails come in, and and in this one in particular, the person was unarmed with information, so I should have just laughed it off. But I mean, to the point where he thought there were 4 men and 1 woman on the board. I mean, he just had no idea what was going on. So his only defense was to make some personal attacks. And I take pride in being fair and just, and I just don't appreciate that kind of an attack. And to that person, my vote is not for sale. If you want a supervisor that you want to control and follow your opinions, etc., the next time you go to the election, know for sure not to vote for me. I'm not the kind of supervisor you want. Thanks.
Okay. Moving on. Unfinished business? Any? No. New business, the 2015 guardrail bid.
you have, yes, you have Dick's memo. Dick, do you want to go over that?
We got 3 bids for installing guardrail this year. Collinson Inc., J. Fletcher Kramer & Son Inc., and Long Fence Company. The bid was divided into a base bid and alternate 1A and alternate 2A. And due to budgetary constraints, I would recommend to the board they award the low bidder and low bid to Collinson Inc. for the base bid of $28,500 and for alternate 2A in the amount of $8,000 and reject alternate 1A due to the budgetary restrictions.
So the total for that Collision Inc. would be $36,000?
36, yeah, 5.
Okay.
I make a motion, we award bid to Collinson Inc. for $36,500.
Question?
Just a question. By not doing 1A, what does it mean?
It means that some guide rail that is due for replacement is not going to get replaced till next year. So it's not like it's mangled and won't work.
It's not creating a safety issue, it's not creating any other issues, is it, by not doing it, or?
It is not.
It is not.
Yeah.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Buckingham Retail Properties giving us an
This is
extension.
the land development application. The zoning ordinance hearing is scheduled for next month, so this, you can't have a land development plan until you have the zoning, so obviously they're suggesting that they give us an extension.
That's the property located at 313 and Ferry Road.
Right.
All right, is there a motion to approve the extension?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The treasurer's report for June 16, 2015. I take it everyone had the opportunity to review it online.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
And then the bills list for June 16th, 2015. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Announcements. We're going to next meet on Tuesday, July 21st at 7 p.m. We're closed on Friday, July 3rd for Independence Day. Sounds of Summer Concert Series begins June 24th with Fruit Gum Company, June 28th with Philly Band. That's $5 per card because there are fireworks. July 15th with a boy band project, 7 p.m. And hopefully by then we'll have our amphitheater up and running. We have 2015 discount park tickets are now available, and you get them in the administrative office. And Father's Day Fishing Derbies, June 21st, rain or shine, Peace Valley Park at Sailors Port entrance. You have to pre-register. The EAC is at 9 a.m. to 12 this Saturday. Is native plant gardening, and you could get there through the other side of Kids Castle over the pond. And one other thing, all the board, and to anyone else, well, you can't all go, but the board is all requested to be at the Bucks County Conservation District Award presented by the Bucks County Commissioners, July 22nd, 2015, 6 p.m. We'll probably meet here earlier. We'll arrange those times in a van to get there. Okay? Hearing no other business, we're done. Thank you very much, everybody.